Hi, I'm pro saxophonist Jamie Anderson. You're watching Get Your Sax Together, and on this week's show, I'm going to teach you everything about how to play sax with a live DJ. So playing with DJs is very much in my blood. It's something I've done for years. I've played in Ibiza with Tim Deluxe and Darren Emerson in clubs like Pasha and Manumission. I've played in big London clubs like Fabric. I've played at dance music, huge festivals like Creamfields and Homelands. And I'm on several really big dance records like Tim Deluxe's We All Love Sax and most famously the solo on Love Story versus Finally, which sounds like this. You don't know what I've been through, waiting and wondering about On top of that, I've done countless gigs with DJs in little clubs, weddings, parties, you name it. So this is a topic that's really near and dear to my heart. So I'm going to tell you everything I know, which is going to be a super valuable lesson today. But just before we get into that, remember you can drastically transform your sax playing in an instant with my free Saxophone Success Masterclass. It's 1 hour of solid saxophone teaching, going to give you some really great tips about sounding better, improvising better, how to put together a practice routine, and lots of other great stuff. So use the link there and go and check out the Saxophone Masterclass if you haven't already. Right, let's get on with learning about playing with DJs. First of all, let's talk about equipment. Now, most of the gigs that I do, there'll be equipment provided. This might be a radio clip mic, or it might just be a stand mic, which is placed near the DJ booth. Either are fine. Sometimes you might have to bring your own equipment. So you could get your own radio mic system, or you can just bring a stand and an SM58 mic and plug it into the DJ console. Now, these gigs can often be very loud indeed, so definitely get yourself some earplugs because you do not want to trash your hearing. The other option you've got is to add some sort of effects to your signal chain, to your sax mic. So you could get yourself a multi-effects unit, or the most obvious one is to get a delay unit. But I also use things like envelope filter, which gives you that kind of wow kind of Brecker with the Brecker Brothers type effect. And there's lots of other options. You could even use a guitar wah-wah pedal. So bear that in mind, that you can also add effects to your sax to make it sound great. Because if you're going straight into the DJ mixer on a gig, you're probably not going to have an opportunity to get any effects, and the sax might just sound dry and boring. So that's your equipment. Sometimes it's provided, sometimes it's not. You might need to invest a little bit. The other thing you could get is a Perspex shield that clips on the bell of your saxophone, and the sound bounces back towards you from the bell of the sax, so you can really hear yourself, because on these really loud gigs, sometimes it can be a real issue hearing yourself. If you're super lucky, you might be on a really posh gig and you'll have radio in-ear monitoring, which is the perfect answer. I do that more in the sort of corporate jobs, but if you're in a rough and ready club, underground club, that's probably not going to happen. So that's your equipment choices. Next point, and most important point about playing with a DJ, do not overplay. Shall I say that again? Do not overplay. Nobody likes an incessant, noodly saxophone all over every tune. The secret is to choose your moment, take frequent breaks. If you can't hear anything to play, or you don't think it's suitable, just don't play anything. It's no big deal. Less is more. So remember that more than anything else. If there's a track with a saxophone solo, don't play over the saxophone solo. If there's a full vocal, don't play over the vocal. And when the DJ is mixing between the previous track and the next track, and the beats are both playing together, you need to really concentrate as a DJ to make sure that those beats are perfectly matched. So once you hear one tune finishing and the other tune starting, don't play over the mix. Now then, let's talk about music that the DJs play. Sometimes DJs might play music which is absolutely awesome to jam on, and normally it'll be a little bit more stripped back and a little bit more sort of tribally with space for you to really blow. Worst case scenario, your DJ will just ignore the fact that you're there and just keep playing full vocal tracks with loads of instrumentation that there's nowhere for you to play. In fact, that's not the worst. The worst is that some DJs even think, oh, saxophone, and start playing tunes with loads of sax solos in them. DJs, are you mad? Your next job is to establish the key center that you're in. Now, I've done a whole video on this with my daughter Jasmine, which is great fun, so go and check it out, linked on the card above now. But essentially, you establish the key center and see if it's major or minor. Almost always, it'll be minor in dance music. And you need to find the strongest note in the song. You can go and watch that video and find out exactly how to do it. But the key will always be the strongest note in the song. And then you need to find a pentatonic blues scale to fit that key. Well, you don't need to find one that fits that key. You play the blues or minor pentatonic scale from that key. That's going to be, with very few exceptions, the scale that you're going to jam on. Next tip, very important, play rhythmic. Play rhythmic, play rhythmic, play rhythmic, play rhythmic, okay? Don't noodle about, don't play a bunch of notes that aren't needed. You've got to be in the groove. It's the most important thing of all. You've got to be in the groove. Just stick to that pentatonic, that blues sound, and really punch it with really strong, funky rhythm like Maceo Parker might do, or like you hear Mike Brecker do. It's dance music. People have got to dance. They don't want to hear you noodling or your jazz legs. Okay? So, strong, rhythmic, punchy lines. And then you kind of choose your moment. You wait for that moment in the music where maybe if there is a full vocal, it drops out and it's the percussion. Boom, in you go. You hit it. Maceo style. Now, quite often dance music has an 8 or 16 or more build-up. Now, you can play in that build-up, and then when it all kicks off again, do something dramatic, which is really going to get the crowd excited. Like, hit that high note and just wail it. If you've got altissimo, that's the moment. Just boom and hit it. Hold it as long as you can. And then once you think you've held it for long enough, hold it a bit longer, because it really does get the crowd going. Now, my final comment is, you're up on stage. You might not be on stage, but effectively you should have the mindset of being on stage. You need to put on a show. So if you're not playing, don't stand there picking your nose. You're better just walking away somewhere else and getting a drink. If you're on stage, you got to get into it. You got to move and groove. You got to dance. You can clap. You can get the people going. It's your job as an entertainer to make sure that the crowd are having a really great time. That's when things are high energy. I should qualify that. There might be occasions when you're just playing background, much more chilled out music, and people are having dinner. You might even have to wander around. In that case, obviously, don't go around to the tables trying to get everybody cranked up. Read the room. It's as simple as that. But if everyone's on their feet and it's a packed club and it's, full energy, really get people going. You will love it. The DJ will love it. And more importantly, the crowd will love it. So finally, here's a little example of the kind of thing that I'm talking about with your playing. Okay, I'm going to play a couple of different backing tracks and then just do a little short jam on my tenor over these backing tracks to give you an idea of what sounds really good when you're playing over DJ music. I hope you enjoy it.
If you think we meant to be as one, hold on, the party's just begun. Don't you know I've got what you need to blow your mind? Cause if it's a love that I can fix, but I can do it in the mix.
So that's all we've got time for this week. Now, I know there's going to be many of you who never play with DJs, don't like dance music. You might just like jazz or funk or soul or whatever. But there's also lots of people I know who always ask me to talk about playing with DJs. So this video is catering for you guys, and you never know, for the for the rest of you, the jazz crowd, you might get called to do that one day. And if you do get called to play with the DJ, don't noodle your jazz legs. Number one rule. Okay. Next week, we're going to have more fantastic content. Don't forget to get your free Saxophone Success Masterclass. And as usual, many, many thanks to everybody who has bought me a coffee. I really, really appreciate it. And of course, if you think you're getting good value, you can use the link and get me some caffeine to keep these videos coming at you every week, every Sunday at 7 a.m. UK time. You will get your Sunday saxed up. Anyway, until next Sunday, practice hard, practice smart, and enjoy your music. Take it easy. So that's all I've got time for this week. I hope you enjoyed the